Hello everyone, happy Saturday. We seem to have got a little bit of spring back after the last couple of days being very windy, rainy and horrible. So it feels like a little bit like spring this morning. And it's May 25th, which is Cassie's Happy Gotcha Day. So I got Cassie 3 years ago today. Also, it's my old poodle Jack's birthday. He would have been 17, but he died in 2022. But he would have been 17 today. So, good morning for most of you. Good evening to those down under, and good afternoon for everyone in between. It's 12:47 p.m. here in the UK. And this is the live stream that I intended to do yesterday, but I had to put it off for a day because of the latest nonsense in the Sebastian Rogers case. But we're talking about Tennessee's missing today, and I'm actually going to cover 5 cases. So I'm going to talk about Sebastian. I'm going to talk, let's see. So we've got top left on your screen is Lea Santanello, who has been missing since June 26th of last year. So she's been missing almost a year. Bottom left is Kaitlyn Ledbetter, which virtually no one has ever heard of. And she's been missing since May the 2nd, 2021. And I've done several videos about Kaitlyn. And her case just hasn't taken off at all. And it's such strange circumstances. I'm surprised more people haven't talked about it. I have tried. I have tried to get this case to take off, but to no avail. And then, of course, middle is Sebastian. And I'm guessing if you're watching this live stream, you're probably watching it because of Sebastian, maybe. Or maybe it's because of Summer Wells. Summer Wells is bottom right. And, of course, Summer was 5 years old when she went missing in June of 2021, 15th of June. So almost 3 years for Summer. 3 years in about, 3 weeks. And then top right is Hollynn Snapp, who's been missing since October of 2023. So all of those cases we're going to cover today. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And there's so many more. There's so many more I could have covered. So many more in Tennessee. There's loads of people missing in Tennessee. Going to say a few hellos, first of all. Elizabeth, good morning from Ohio. Unindicted co-conspirator, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Pinchot, strange. Seems to be multiple Summer Wells of varying ages. No, there isn't. I do think maybe Kaitlyn Ledbetter has a look of Summer, possibly. Like if Summer was 20 years older. I think it's possibly they've both got Germanic / Scandinavian ancestry. I know Summer does for sure. because I've done like a family tree going way back. So I know that Summer has got German and Danish ancestry. Kaitlyn Ledbetter, actually, I think she's got a look of Libby German from the Delphi case. Like an older version of Libby German. Anyhow, the countdown feels so slow. Well, the countdown is done. We're all done. Hi, Holly. That's right. You're correct. You're correct. Layla, Hollynn, Summer, Sebastian. And yeah, you're absolutely right, even though you forgot her name. She jumped out of a window and was never seen again. That's Kaitlyn. Hi, Mike, Eileen, Naomi Rose, Karen, Mandy, Centaurus. I think the bottom one looks older. Layla was 20 when she went missing. She's 21 now. Kaitlyn was 25 when she went missing. She'll be 28 now. Who else have we got in? We're going to go through all the details and everything. Hello, Nicola, Rambling Rome, CW, Giraffe Jackie, Memphis Song, Garrett, Always Me, Dallas, Mythical, Glitter Paws, Anane, K9 Dream Dog, great name, Joe O'Sullivan, Pam, Heather So, Alwyn, Shaker Maker, Melanie, Lisa, Down Under with Love, Must Be Late for You, Late Saturday, Shelley Roo, Vala. Okay, all right. People coming in, gonna make a start because we've got a lot to get through. A lot to get through. Almost 10 p.m. Oh, it's not that late then. It's not that late. You'd love to get an official update about Summer from law enforcement. Well, wouldn't we all? Wouldn't we all? If you remember, Summer's 2-year missing mark last June, Sheriff Ronnie Lawson from Hawkins County Sheriff's Office wouldn't speak on camera, but he told, I don't know whether it was News Nation or WJHL. I think it was WJHL. I think it was Ansley Daniel. He said that there'd be an update in the near future, and we were all excited, thinking, oh, maybe they're close to a breakthrough. They just don't want to speak on it just yet. But no, no. It depends what Sheriff Lawson thought of as near future, I guess. I guess it is near future if you think about the entire future of planet Earth and the fact that we've got maybe 1.5 billion years before we burn up by the sun. I don't know. I mean, you know, it depends what time span you're talking about. But personally, I don't think that more than 11 months down the line, we're still waiting for an update. There's been zero. Nothing from TBI, nothing from Sheriff, nothing. Zero. Hello, Jen. Thanks for joining. Welcome to the Secret Agents Club. Thank you, thank you. Did they ever check any burrows like wolf or bear caves for Summer? Well, we'll get to where they checked when we do Summer, when we get to Summer's case. But they did 4.5 square miles in the first 13 days. I don't know about caves. I assume if they came across any caves in their 4.5 square miles, then they would have done. Hello, Christina from Colorado. Hello, hello. Bubba Son. Layla and Hollynn are both from Kingsport. They are indeed. They are indeed. All right, we're going to start with which one? I'm going to do that overlay. All right, going to start with the child Amber Alerts for Tennessee. These include the endangered missing young persons as well. So we had a new one, but that's been resolved, thankfully. I'm assuming that little guy there didn't just run away. I'm guessing that was a parental abduction, but anyway, Keelan Martin has been resolved. Sebastian Rogers, of course, we're going to start with Sebastian. We got Hollynn, Layla, Kennedy Hoyle, who is still missing from Memphis, 2 days old. I think she was murdered. Her mother was murdered, and then she's missing. I think she was murdered as well. We've got Summer. We've got Eva from Winchester in Tennessee, missing since 2015. Her case, I don't know very much about it. There's not a lot at all about Eva's case. She was last seen with an adult male, so don't know what happened there. Chloe Leverett and Gage Daniel, their brother and sister. I've talked about their case before. I did a video about them. Very strange, missing since 2012. Their house burnt down, but their remains were never found. So although it's been assumed that they did perish in the fire, the fact that not one bone fragment from either of these children, from Chloe or Gage, was found, then they also have to ponder the possibility that they either got away or they were abducted and the fire was some kind of cover. Very strange. And then we've got Zaley from Millersville, been missing since 2011. Those are all the Amber Alerts and endangered child and young person alerts in Tennessee. So we're going to start with Sebastian, and we're going to go through just facts. Just facts. That's all. All right. For all of the cases that we're covering, it's like a little bit more than a whistle-stop tour. We're going to cover all the facts that we know. Okay. So I'm going to start with Sebastian and the information about him on the TBI Newsroom. So what's going on here? Right. Annoying. All right, I'll have to reshare. Hold on 1 sec. That was my fault. I clicked the screen off rather than make it bigger. So I'm going to have to reshare it. Okay. There we go. Yay, we're back. Why is it not showing up there? There we go. There we go. That's better. That's better. All right, so this is the information from the TBI Newsroom about Sebastian. So this is what the TBI are willing to tell us, and this is pretty much all we know formally from either the TBI or Sumner County Sheriff's Office. And of course, Sebastian was last seen on Stafford Court, which is his home. This is Sebastian's home here, which is just north of Hendersonville. It's like classed as Hendersonville, but it's out of the city limits. So just north of Hendersonville in Middle Tennessee. So all we know in addition, which we can be 99% certain of, in addition to what law enforcement are willing to tell us, is that several dogs, 4 dogs in fact, tracked him from his home, tracked the scent from his home here, across the neighbour's backyard, onto Kaitlyn Lane, and then up Kaitlyn Lane and onto the construction site, and then One of the dogs we heard on the dispatch audio, so we know this happened. We know this absolutely happened because it's on the dispatch audio. Dove into the retention pond, which is here. And then we also know that 3 other dogs made that exact track. So it went down from the porch, round the corner, down the back fence, back up, across the neighbour's yard, onto Kaitlyn, onto the construction site, and then to the retention pond. So that's in addition to what we've been told by law enforcement, although I absolutely believe that happened because Max, a German Shepherd, it's on the dispatch audio. Okay, so this is from the TBI Newsroom. So the last update was the 25th of April. So we've not had an update now from law enforcement for a month. It's the 25th of May now. It's actually 3 months. It'll be 3 months tonight that his mother last saw him. And then it was the early morning hours of the 26th. The 911 call was made at 6:33 a.m. on the 26th. So we've not had an update from TBI for a month. I'm thinking they may do like a little written update tomorrow, maybe, possibly, but who knows. We do have some little updates that have come via Nick Barris, the reporter for News Channel 5 Nashville, who is in contact with Eric Craddock from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. So we've had some kind of little updates via Nick, but mainly to, dispel nonsense, to dispel myths. But we've not had a formal update for a month now. So this is from April 25th. April 26th marks 2 months since Sebastian Rogers was reported missing from his Sumner County home. Since that time, TBI special agents from multiple units have assisted the Sumner County Sheriff's Office in efforts to locate Sebastian. These efforts have included multiple large-scale searches on the ground, in water, and from the air. So they did 8 days on the initial search, and then they came back and did an additional 2 days. What was it, about a month later? And we know they covered, I played the really, really detailed press conference from February 29th. Played that a few days ago in my live stream. Very detailed. And most people haven't seen it because most people weren't following the case back on February 29th. And then they said in the first 4 days, they'd covered the equivalent of 2,000 miles on the ground. So pretty impressive. The searches have included multiple local, state and federal law enforcement agencies, including the FBI and Secret Service. So we know the Secret Service have analysed the tech. We know that the FBI has also been involved in the tech and tracking vehicles. So they've been very much involved, despite people saying, oh, the FBI should take over. No, they've been very much involved. They wouldn't do any more than what has been done. Residents in the area have also conducted searches on their own properties in the hopes of finding Sebastian or learning what may have happened to him. To date, there has been no confirmed sightings of Sebastian since the issuance of the Amber Alert. TBI special agents continue to review the information gathered since the investigation began, follow up on all leads and tips that come in, and work with counterparts from other law enforcement agencies to review strategies and consider options. The Amber Alert for Sebastian Rogers remains active. We continue to encourage anyone with information to call 1-800-TBI-FIND or send email tips to tbi@tbi.tn.gov. And then, so 4th of March, that was when they did that second scale, large scale 2-day search. So again, it was multi-agencies, and they didn't tell anybody they were going to do it. They just turned up, and multiple law enforcement agencies, like sheriff's offices from multiple counties, the TBI, the FBI, multiple search agencies, Equisearch were there. There was a big push to cover as much ground as they could in 2 days. So this is from 4th of March. TBI special agents are joining investigators with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and law enforcement agencies from surrounding counties to conduct another thorough search in the Long Hollow Pike area in reference to the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. While there has not been any additional information to indicate where Sebastian might be or may have been, trained search teams will again execute a ground search in the wooded and open areas around Sebastian's home and neighbourhood. Additionally, we have been made aware that an altered version of the official TBI Amber Alert poster has been made and circulated. So they weren't happy about that somebody altered the Amber Alert. They don't mind people doing posters, but they don't like people altering the official Amber Alert. Could the tracks the dogs found be from Sunday morning or previous days, or not from Sunday night or Monday morning? The reason why I think they're from Monday morning is because the majority of that track was on a road. It was on Kaitlyn Lane. So I've made multiple videos about how quick a scent will dissipate from an artificial surface like a road. If it had been all on natural surface, then I'd say yes, absolutely. It could have been from a week previous. But as the majority of it was on a road, an actual road, then I think that track was possibly only a few hours old. But that's just knowing what I know about dogs. All right. So that's his official Amber Alert. So I show that every time I cover Sebastian. And then we had 322. That's April, isn't it? Have I been saying 4th of March? That's 4th of April. No, 3rd of April. Because you Americans do month, day, year. We do day, month, year. So it always confuses me. So that's April the 3rd. So not whatever I was saying in March. But this is the update that was from March 22nd. Special agents and intelligent analysts continue to go over and review information that has been collected since the search for Sebastian began. These also continue to follow up on tips and leads. And at that point, so that was like almost the month mark, there'd been 240 tips. We still encourage residents who live within the search area, and the search area was 5 miles, 5-mile radius, which goes, this is Google Maps, so on my Google Earth I've actually got the radius in, but it goes, 5-mile radius goes about the, like round like that. That's a 5-mile radius. So they were asking anybody within the search area to check their properties, but I would say there's a good chance he actually got beyond the search area. So check their properties, outbuildings, under decks, inside boats or cars, anywhere a teen may be able to hide. If residents have property that has terrain that may include ledges, holes, or unstable footing and don't feel comfortable assessing it themselves, we can have someone from law enforcement do it for them. And they've been saying that since day one because they know that Sebastian liked to hide. How do we know that? As a fact, because on the dispatch audio, we heard from a neighbour who said that he'd seen Sebastian hiding under one of his cars. That was a neighbour from Stafford Court. We also heard from a man who actually lives on the construction site itself. or at least what looks like construction site on this map, because this is from last year. But it was one of the neighbours from one of these houses, which are now finished, like all of this is now completed, who said he'd seen Sebastian like numerous times previously, like wandering about here, but not recently. So he knew Sebastian, he knew what he looked like, but he hadn't seen him recently. And I imagine that he hasn't seen him recently because this part is now finished. This part is now houses, would have no interest to a teenager. So I think Sebastian had moved from wandering around here, which was construction. At this time, it was construction, to here, which, surprise, surprise, is where the dogs tracked him to. So that makes total sense that the man here isn't seeing Sebastian anymore, because Sebastian's going to play here, not here. So the guy can't see him anymore. All right. Okay. Much of the work being done to track down information about where Sebastian may have gone is not something you will necessarily see in public, but we want you to know that every day work is being done to find Sebastian. Any information you may have, what he likes to do, where he likes to go, people he may know. If it can help us find Sebastian, please let us know. And then 3:15, so this is March 15th. So they talk about the 2,000 miles, 2 total. So he's got to have got into a car if they lost the scent. Not necessarily Devil Doll. Again, for the reasons that I've talked about previously, day in, day out. Possible. That's one reason why the scent would just completely disappear. But wait till we get further down, because apparently he didn't. Okay. So large-scale ground search resulted in first responders covering about 2,000 total miles in a 5-mile search radius. So we knew they'd done that in the first couple of days. We continue to work with some of the County Sheriff's Office and the FBI to both proactively pursue information that may be relevant to the search for Sebastian and to pursue any tips or pieces of information that come in. We have not forgotten about Sebastian. Much of the work currently being done to bring Sebastian home may not necessarily be public or visible, but agents, detectives, and intelligence analysts continue to work around the clock to review every bit of information available. Sebastian's family has remained cooperative since the search began and have done whatever law enforcement asks of them. So we know that all parents have been cooperative. Seth less so. Not that he's not been, not that he's not been cooperative, but he's been blabbing, which the cops don't like. But we know Katie and Chris continue to cooperate and not talk about the stuff that they may know that that cops don't want them to tell. And they probably don't know a whole lot more, to be fair. At this stage in the investigation, there are few clues to indicate, so this again was March, what happened to Sebastian or where he may have been. There is no proof at this time that there is any criminal element involved in his disappearance, and they still maintain that when they talk to Nick Barris. But also, there's not any proof that there is not a criminal element involved. And again, they continue to say that when they talk to Nick Barris. So agents and investigators are reviewing any possibility at all that may indicate where Sebastian is. In order to preserve the integrity of the investigation, we cannot discuss any of the specifics surrounding the case. But we know how many people care about Sebastian, and what has been done is still being done to bring him home. Also, we want to caution the public about putting too much stock into information being presented in various media forms that is inaccurate or incomplete and could be damaging to the investigation. And they still say that to Nick Barris. At least they're communicating with someone. So the information coming via Nick is dispelling some of the ridiculousness that's out there. So the number again, 1-800-TBI, find. So these are the questions and answers. They've done one of these for summer. And I thought that was, I think it's pretty useful when they do this. But what areas have been searched? Okay, so within the first several days of the search, more than 2,000 square miles were searched on foot. Many of these areas were initially searched and searched again. Law enforcement officers have searched the neighbourhoods, surrounding neighbourhoods, schools, and many other areas of the county by foot. Bloodhounds and handlers have searched the same area. There have been aerial searches with helicopters, drones, and a fixed-wing plane. These aerial searches have been conducted on multiple days and multiple nights using thermal imaging technology. So they've gone out day and night, you know, just in case he's on the move. You know, he might be sleeping in the day and moving at night. So that's what they go out at night for. Sebastian's residence, the yard, the house, the vehicles have all been searched multiple times. Can we get that in our heads, please? The house, the yard, the vehicles have all been searched multiple times. Multiple times. With dogs, with forensics, they've all been combed over multiple times. The neighbourhood where Sebastian lives has been canvassed. It was being canvassed within like an hour of him going missing, or at least being reported missing. Neighbours' houses have been searched. Sebastian is autistic and his family says he's drawn to water. Pools in the neighbourhood were searched. Like cops were just walking all over. On that first morning, cops were just going into yards. They were searching under sheds. Anything that was unlocked, they were looking in. You know, like they're going to ask permission later. But, you know, it was just like all hands on deck, go and find him. So they were looking in people's crawl spaces if, you know, they weren't locked up. They were looking in sheds if they weren't locked up, just in case he was hiding. But they didn't find him. And he's still nowhere to be seen. Okay. So pools, dive teams were brought in and bodies of water around the neighbourhood and beyond that area were searched, including caves. Now, we know that EquiSearch, like their organisation, cleared 50 ponds because there's a lot of ponds in that area. So they found 50 ponds and cleared them. So that's some going, and that's the work of EquiSearch. The caves, they did say that not all the caves had been searched. The caves that could be safely entered were searched, but there were some collapsed caves, and they've not been able to safely send searchers or dogs in to those caves. They're too dangerous. So that for me is a big concern, that he could have been playing in a cave because caves are cool, and it collapsed around him. Like we heard on the dispatch audio, that there's a cave on Long Hollow Pike, which is the main road that runs here. This is Long Hollow Pike. And it's one of these houses. I forget which one it is. I think it's that one that has a cave on the property. And one of the first responders on the morning of the 26th of February went into this cave, but he could only go in about 10 feet because the rest of it was collapsed. So there were multiple collapsed caves that they've not yet searched. They've not yet searched. They can't search, not safely. What about the technology aspect? Have you collected security video from area homes and businesses? Have cell phones been checked? Many neighbourhoods and businesses have provided video from home and business surveillance systems. We are grateful for that cooperation. The video has been collected and from the beginning of the investigation has been analysed and enhanced where possible by tech experts with the TBI, FBI and Secret Service. So they've all kind of, you know, the best experts in Tennessee and beyond, the best experts from the FBI and the Secret Service have been analysing video to try and enhance it, to see if he's on any of that surveillance. And he isn't, because when he walked up Kelling Lane, he's too far away. Like most people in that immediate vicinity had Ring doorbells, and it's out of the, you know, the capacity of that system to pick him up. And also, it was dark and he was wearing black. But I mean, beyond that, you know, there's multiple businesses and homes that have surveillance video that's much better than a Ring doorbell. And they've not been able to pick him up. Why have they not been able to pick him up? Because I believe they haven't picked him up on any of these. Like down here, he went this way. So we know that house has a surveillance camera rather than a Ring doorbell. But if he went through here, it would no way have picked him up. And even if he went this way, with it being dark and him wearing black, no lights. There's no lights in the neighborhood. So just didn't get him. And then if he's gone into the woods, he's not going to be picked up on any cameras. If you've gone into the woods, unless someone had a trail camera out there, which is possible, but he's not been picked up on any cameras. Not been picked up on any cameras. All right. Okay, to date, nothing gathered from these video systems has been determined to be significant. We do caution that some surveillance video being shared in the public may be misinterpreted or misidentified or not shown in its entirety. It has been determined that it does not hold any evidentiary significance to the investigation. Of course, what they're referring to there is the flashlights video, which wasn't flashlights at all. It was a garbage truck on a different street. Numerous search warrants have been executed. So they have to execute search warrants if they want data from things like social media, gaming accounts, all of that stuff. It has to be done via search warrant. So various search warrants have been executed. Cell phone data has been analysed. So that's cell phone from particular cell phones. I bet you also they've done cell tower dumps as well, in order to, you know, collate like a geofencing map. I bet that's been done as well, because the FBI are into that. And any other available digital evidence has been collected, searched, and documented. Information was collected from Sebastian's gaming system and has been analysed. With help from the FBI vehicle, now this is important for those who think he got into a car. With help from the FBI, vehicles that were placed in the area at or around the time of Sebastian's disappearance have been accounted for. So they've probably been able to find the owner of every car that moved around that neighborhood and cleared them. Now, of course, they don't use the word cleared, but in their heads, in their investigation, all the cars moving around that area that will have left, you know, people will have been leaving for work and stuff like that in the early morning. They've all been accounted for. They've all been accounted for. Now, how far out, you know, whether it's just the immediate neighborhood has been, the cars have been accounted for, or whether it's, you know, further out, maybe from, you know, the immediate neighborhood would be Stafford Court, Kelling, and then there's a couple of little like offshoots. There's, what's that, Winton Court there. That's called something different, I think. So that's kind of the immediate neighborhood, isn't it? But then you've got this neighborhood, which has got more people living in it now. I bet you any money they've covered that area because of the dog track getting here and going to here and then just losing the scent. So all the cars coming from there will have been accounted for. Honeysuckle maybe they've done, I don't know. And then further out, you've got the school. Anybody coming and going from the school, I bet they've checked. And then that's it for the immediate vicinity. You know, you have to go right the other side of Shackle Island for this built-up area here. So all the cars, with help from the FBI, vehicles that were placed in the area at or around the time of Sebastian's disappearance have been accounted for. These videos and all electronic evidence that have been reviewed is often also being re-investigated. What's going on now in the investigation? The search for Sebastian has not stopped. Every day, tips and leads are investigated. People are being interviewed and re-interviewed. Evidence that has been reviewed once already is being gone over again. We continue to ask residents in the area to search and keep an eye on your property to see if anything has been moved or displaced. Is this a place where a child could have hidden? If you have property that has ledges or holes that a teenager might find interesting, or you can't search it yourself, please contact the tip line and we can have someone check it out for you. If you know Sebastian and have information about him, what he likes, how he acts, that you think could be relevant, let us know. We know many people are very invested in getting Sebastian home. We will update this information as there may be any developments. Please use the tip line at 1-800-TBI-FIND or the email at tipstoTBI@tbi.tn.gov. And then they just say they're grateful to all the law enforcement and other agencies that have assisted. And then these are the pictures that the TBI has put out. Why is that not one showing up? Okay. That's right. Rodrigo Falcon from Aviemore in Scotland was found really close to where his last footprints were. Yeah. And people have been out searching for him. And it was like over a year before his remains were found. It's bizarre. How quickly people can get missed. Yeah, he didn't want to do online schooling. Anyway, all right, so that's Sebastian's case. We're going to move on now to Hollynn and Layla. So they're both missing out of Kingsport in East Tennessee. So Layla was last seen on June 26, 2023. She was 20 when she went missing. She's now 21. She's only 4'10", 135 pounds, blonde hair and brown eyes. And then Hollynn, also missing from Kingsport, last seen October 15th, 2023, age 19 when she went missing. I don't know if she's had a birthday. Only 4'8", 110 pounds, brown hair and hazel eyes. So we're going to cover Layla first and then Hollynn. But the two cases have kind of been, they've been, since October, since Hollynn went missing, they've been kind of covered together, although they're very different. Like initially, like the families and people who'd been, you know, aware of Layla's case thought they've got to be connected. They've got to be connected, like two young women from the same town, the same age, and both tiny, like tiny for the, you know, they're both adults. But, you know, Layla's only 4'10" and Hollynn only 4'8". And they've got to be connected, but they're not. They're not connected. As far as anybody, including law enforcement, can tell. So there's been quite a few things happening in Layla's case. Now, I covered Layla's case from the beginning. I've talked about Layla's case. I've done a few videos. Usually I kind of pair them with somewhere else. Like when I've done it like a few videos talking about Tennessee's missing and talked about Layla, and I've done some TikToks and stuff as well. But I've not done a recent update on Layla. So there has been some movement. It was nice that Kendall Ray, if anybody knows Kendall Ray, she's got like 2 million subscribers. She's been doing true crime videos forever. She's now covered Layla's case. So that's got Layla's case a lot of publicity. the fact that I watched that video and it had already had 500,000 views when I watched it, and it's probably had way more since. And she had interviews with Layla's mother, Jennifer Santinello, who's done a great deal of publicity. She's got a TikTok account, and she's been, for the last 11 months, she's been relentless, like putting information out for Layla, and, you know, getting people on TikTok interested in her case. And also Layla's dad and stepmother have also been working. They got private investigator who's SF Investigates, Steve Fisher. He's been working on the case for several months now. He's also the PI on Hollynn's case as well. So they've all, in their own ways, done a lot for Layla, for, you know, raising awareness and pushing law enforcement. You know, pushing law enforcement. And there was a big misunderstanding initially. For several months, it was thought that the last known place Layla was at, I'm gonna just get the map up here. Hotel, Kingsport. Here we go. All right. It was thought that Layla had been last seen in the early morning hours, or like early morning, at the Marble Slab, which is an ice cream shop. Somewhere around here it is. Hold on, I'm gonna. Marble Slab. Oh, it's down there. Okay. So that she was last seen at the Marble Slab on the morning of June 27th. And this went on for several months. All right. That one of the workers at the Marble Slab had seen a young woman, kind of like a bit disheveled, barefooted, and had given her something to eat. Had given her a drink and something to eat. And this young woman, the worker at Marble Slab, reported this to the family and to the cops, that, yeah, it was definitely Layla. It was definitely her. And that she was barefooted, but she was going to go over to the shoe shop, which is just across this car park. So, yeah. It's one of these. To buy some flip-flops. And she never made it. Well, it turns out that sighting was not Layla. It was just someone who looked like her. And this worker at the Marble Slab just assumed it was Layla because it fit her description. And she was sure that she'd spoken to Layla and, you know, helped her, given her something to eat. And it wasn't her. And eventually they managed to track down the woman who it was, who said, yeah, it was me. So that took several months, and it set the investigation back because everybody was assuming that there'd been a sighting on June 27th and that she'd gone missing from this parking lot, because she was heading over just across the parking lot to buy some flip-flops. And then she's just gone. But actually, no, the last sighting was at the AmeriCourt Hotel on the 26th of June. So she was at the AmeriCourt Hotel and they asked her to leave. Like, she was in a bad way, quite disheveled, and she was like knocking on people's doors at the hotel, and people were complaining. And presumably Layla had no money, I don't know, to get a room, I don't know. So she went to sleep in this wooded area. So she was leaving, and it's alleged that this is where she was sleeping on the 26th of June. Now, there's been more. There's been more, and this was covered in Kendall Ray's video. So go and watch Kendall Ray's video, because like, it's in the family's own words, but it is in the news. And forgive my source, this is the Sun. I don't normally use the Sun, but it just so happens that they've got the best write-up of this, because Layla's boyfriend was arrested, but not for her disappearance. Layla's boyfriend. Now, Layla was living with Michael David Thompson, and they'd been together a while. They weren't getting on. Layla had left, and it was Michael Thompson that told the family that Layla was missing. And at first, Jennifer thought that they were having her on, that Layla and Michael were like pranking. But no, very quickly they realised that it wasn't a prank. And Jennifer didn't particularly like Michael. So she thought, well, if Layla wants to, you know, be on her own, if she's left Michael and she just wants to be on her own for a while, then maybe Michael is pestering the family for Layla's location. So Jennifer was quite suspicious and just thought that Layla had just gone off and was spending some time on her own, or, you know, was hiding out. But George and Brittany, who is Layla's biological father and Brittany's her stepmother, they were that concerned that it was them that called the cops. They ruminated on it. So this would have been, I can't remember what day it was, but it was, you know, the end of June. They ruminated on it and were really worried. So they called the cops in the middle of the night, you know, and said, look, you know, we're not waiting. We're not waiting any longer. We're going to report her missing. So I'm going to read this article because it covers what happened with Michael Thompson, because he's been arrested. Because in the weeks preceding Layla's disappearance, the family kept getting cash apps from Layla, from Layla's account, and basically saying she was kidnapped, and this was the kidnapper speaking. And guess who it was? It was Michael Thompson. So the cops eventually arrested him for extortion, extorting the family. So that's how much Michael Thompson cared about the situation. But the cops say he's not a suspect. They've no evidence against him for the disappearance of Layla. But I think he knows. Honestly, I think he knows. But this was from March of this year. Police investigating the disappearance of Lea Santanello told her family they're confident they know what has happened to the missing mom, and that it's a matter of time before the case is solved. And this is all come from her stepmother, Brittany, who's been speaking to the press. The promising revelation comes just hours after Layla's boyfriend, Michael David Thompson, was arrested for allegedly impersonating Layla on cash apps to extort her family for money 2 weeks after she vanished. And it went on and on and on. Like, Jennifer and Brittany were like, what's going on here? Why is it done that? What? Can you still hear me? That's weird. That just like, I didn't touch anything that time. It wasn't me that time. There we go. Are we back? Yeah, we're back. Okay, that was weird. That was so weird. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so Jennifer and Brittany were like cash apping this account like $1 at a time so that they could ask questions. And like this Michael Thompson was pretending to be the kidnapper, like demanding her like a ransom. It's insane. But this is Layla. She got a little baby, actually. I think the baby was maybe 2, not quite 2 when she went missing. And Layla had actually lost custody of this little baby due to drug use. And it was Jennifer that had been granted temporary custody of the baby because Layla wasn't in a good place. She'd been suffering from addiction issues. So she was in a very vulnerable state. Very vulnerable state. This is Michael Thompson. This is a low life here. I mean, at least the baby was being looked after by Jennifer. So, you know, it was a matter of, you know, Layla needed just to get her act together and then she could, you know, resume custody. So they've even got the date wrong because it wasn't the June 27th. June 27th comes from that sighting at the marble slab that wasn't Layla. So the last actual sighting was June 26th. So Layla 21 has been missing since June 26th from her hometown of Kingsport, Tennessee. On Monday night, so again, this was from March the 5th. So Monday night, her living boyfriend, Michael Thompson, also 21, was arrested in connection with a series of fraudulent cash app requests sent from Layla's account last summer. Cops say Thompson posed as Layla on the app and contacted several of her family members and friends after she was reported missing in a sick attempt to extort them for cash in a time of crisis. Thompson has been charged with identity theft, theft under $1,000, illegal possession of fraudulent use of a credit or debit card, and extortion. However, investigators stressed he is not currently considered a suspect in connection with Layla's disappearance. Couple of weeks after she was reported missing, his house was searched. His house was raided and searched, and they didn't find anything. So, not currently a suspect in connection with Layla's disappearance. Layla's stepmom, Brittany Zeitler, said she knew Thompson's arrest was coming for some time. She also claims, so this has come from the stepmom, not directly from cops. She also claims to have received information from police at the end of last year, so December of last year, that they believe they know what happened to Layla, giving her quiet cause for optimism that answers will soon be forthcoming to explain her disappearance. Police are working hard to resolve this matter, she said. They've been giving us very limited information, but I received a call in December basically saying, Merry Christmas. We know what happened. We know who did it. We know roughly where she's at, but we can't tell you anything yet. So again, this is just from Brittany, not directly from the cops. They said they have an idea where she might be at, but again, this is in December and we're now in March. Well, we're now at the end of May and we still don't have any further developments. So clearly, there's still a lot of missing puzzle pieces in this case. It's just really hard when you're not getting all the information. So Lea Santanello's disappearance is compared to Gabby Petito by mom who pleads for help and thinks YouTubers can help find her. And I think her case has gained more popularity on TikTok. I think because Jennifer's been on TikTok. You know, thousands of people are following her on TikTok, but not so much on YouTube. A few people have covered her, and I've I've covered it, but it's not enough. I don't think enough has been done on YouTube. But let's see if this will play.
And, you know, it's probably just about as equally difficult for anyone that is either complicit or involved in Layla disappearing, if that is indeed the case. What would your message to them be at this point, you know, 5 months in, with an investigation still ongoing?
That is a good question.
So that's from 5 months in. So that's going to be, this is from November 2023. So they're playing an old interview here. So this is the son just rehashing an old interview. But let's listen to what Jennifer has to say. So this is Jennifer, her mother.
If you know something, please say something. I know that it's a hard thing to do, but there's an entire family that's wounded right now because we don't know what happened to our person. For anyone that lives in Kingsport in the area or visited the area in the month of June, there was no camera footage outside that marble slab that caught my daughter on video. Everything was checked.
All right, remember the marble slab sighting was not Layla anyway. Remember that. Like, this is back from November. He said 5 months ago. So back in November, we all assumed, in the family and everybody covering the case, all assumed that the marble slab sighting was Layla. It was not. The woman who it was has been found, and it's been confirmed that it's not her. So I'm not going to play any more of that because it'll be about the marble slab. So the Kingsport PD has been contacted for comment. Citing a mother's instinct, Zeitler said she believes her daughter, it's actually a stepdaughter, who struggles with addiction, may have overdosed in the company of someone else who either failed to report her death or disposed of her remains. I mean, that's just what that's Brittany's theory. That's not a confirmation in any way, shape or form. However, until Layla is found, she said, she and other relatives will continue to cling to the hope that she may one day walk back through the door despite receiving no signs of life from the mom of one for the last 8 months. It's now 11 months. Zeitler said she's no reason to believe that Thompson had any involvement in Layla's disappearance. However, she suspects he may know more than he has previously let on. I believe that. I think he knows more. Even if it's just second-hand information, I believe he knows more. And he's clearly not that bothered because he's been extorting the family. Layla's best friend spoke on Pascal. Did they? I didn't see that. Before he was arrested, he came to me saying he had information on Layla. Michael asked if I could set something up with law enforcement, which I did, but he decided not to show, and the deal was off the table. So there obviously is a lot more going on behind the scenes than we know. I think the cops may actually know what happened and they just can't prove it. It was a relief to hear he was arrested finally, because my goal in this, with him now in custody, is to ensure he doesn't take any secrets to the grave if he knows anything. He may not be responsible, but he may know something. But we won't know until police speak to him and he gets clean and his head is straight. Well, it's now May 25th. So has he got his head straight yet? Zeitler has been in frequent contact with Thompson over the last 8 months. It was Thompson who first raised the alarm that something may have happened to Layla, but he never contacted police himself to file a missing persons report. So that's one of the cash apps extorting the family. Zeitler said Thompson, who also struggles with addiction, has been hit hard by Layla's unexplained absence. She claims he's been on a reckless path over the last few months, indulging in excessing drug use and brushing with death. I was honestly fearing that we weren't going to make it this far. I didn't think he was going to make it to the cell. I honestly didn't, because he seemed determined to take himself out, she said. Well, if his drug use spiraled out of all control, maybe it's because he's hiding secrets. I don't know. I'm only suggesting. He hasn't been well. He's been highly affected by this too. There's been a lot of speculation about him because they were together all that time. He was her boyfriend and she's vanished, and suddenly you don't know where she is. But honestly, I've never suspected Michael, to be honest, for Leila's disappearance. Maybe they're saying that. Maybe they're saying that to make Michael feel comfortable. You know, I don't know. He was the first to report that something was wrong, expressing his concerns. I can honestly tell you that through this time, the whole thing, I've never gotten the vibe or the feeling he was responsible in any way for the disappearance. Now, do I feel he might know more? He might know more, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Leila's mom, Jennifer Santinello, told the US Sun in December that she'd spent the previous 5 months meticulously tracing her daughter's final steps in search for answers. 3 days before she was reported missing, Jennifer got a message from Leila's boyfriend via Leila's Facebook account, asking if she was in jail. So asking if Leila was in jail or in hospital because he didn't know where she was. Messages viewed by the US Sun showed. Later that same night, Leila messaged her mom from the same account. I'm fine, Mom, she said, following up with, I've been with a friend. I don't have a phone or text or call. I'm using someone else's. Okay, I love you, replied Jennifer, to which Leila responded with what would be her final message. I love you so much more. So that's Leila and Michael. Okay, more cash apps. So these are the actual texts. So June 25th. So this is the day before the final sighting. So I'm fine, Mom. Why the hell did he think you were in jail? I don't know. I've been with a friend. I don't have a phone to text or call. I'm using someone else's. Okay, I love you. I love you so much more. And that was the last message. But the following day, she was at the AmeriCourt Hotel, and that's been confirmed. That's the confirmed last sighting at the AmeriCourt Hotel. So it was Brittany and George, as I said, who reported her missing in the early hours of June 27th. The family was provided with a glimmer of what would later turn out to be false. Hope that Leila was still alive, roughly 2 weeks after she was last seen. That hope came in the form of a series of strange Cash App requests from Leila's account, sent to Zeitler and Jennifer asking for money. In the subject line, one request seeking $100, the letters TWLMG appeared on the screen. I don't know what that means. Several requests were made with the same subject line over several minutes. So Jennifer sent her daughter's account $1 with a message asking if she was okay. As a back and forth of transactions ensued, Jennifer said she believed the acronym in the subject line of the first request meant they won't let me go. So she believed her daughter was being held hostage. Imagine that. Imagine being a family member in that position. And it's the boyfriend who just wants money for drugs. She contacted the police and began asking the requester of the funds more specific questions to verify it was Leila, sending messages. At some point, I started asking, what's your brother's name? What's your baby brother's birthday? And other specific questions like that only she would know. But this person was just ignoring them. So I thought, no, something is wrong here. But then periodically throughout the next several weeks, they kept coming in. And then the requests got more and more threatening. One such threatening request was made for $95 with the caption, for 15 minutes, or you'll find her in pieces. They were very detailed about the things they were going to do if we didn't send the money. But that's the sad thing over all these conversations, because you had to send $1 to send a sentence. We probably did send the money they were asking for. Authorities were eventually able to access the account and determine who was sending the messages. At the time, the family declined to name the culprit to The Sun. In the wake of Thompson's arrest for allegedly concocting the sick scheme, Zeitler said she owes no resentment towards him. I'd be furious. But again, they might just be trying to, keep him comfortable. Zeitler said she was aware Thompson was behind the Cash App request for quite some time and had previously confronted him about it. I brought it to Michael's attention a few times. He was in total denial. It was more like, I didn't do it, it wasn't me. I even told him, Michael, I'm not even mad nor even upset because, in all honesty, you're a suffering addict right now and you took advantage of a situation like any other addict would have. But it's messed up and I hope he can utilise this time to get the help he needs. So late last year, Zeitler claimed Layla and Thompson had fallen out days before. He disappeared because he discovered she started a new relationship with another man. So there's a new man involved. Another man involved. It's very messy, isn't it? She left home and stayed with friends for a few nights before checking into the Americourt Hotel in Kingsport on June 25th. On June 26th, other guests at the motel reportedly seen Jennifer, that should be Layla, going door to door in an apparent state of distress, but she declined help from numerous strangers who offered her assistance. At some stage in the late morning of the 26th, there was another altercation involving Layla and an unknown person. So, altercation on the very day she was last seen. Before that altercation, Layla, according to Zeitner, told a friend, I have to take care of something. Layla was threatened with eviction from the motel because of the commotion. She then walked off into a nearby woods around midday. There's a warehouse near the woods, and there was approximately 5 employees that were working who said they could see Layla sticking out from a mile away. Okay. Based on her paranoia, her panicking, and her being freaked out, it could be that she was running from whoever she spoke to at the motel. The last known sighting of Layla, according to Zeitner, occurred outside of the storage facility a short distance from the Americourt. Where she went then remains a mystery. Despite there being no sightings of Layla, no calls or text from the 21-year-old, Zeitler is clinging to a slither of hope that her stepdaughter is still alive. She hopes the answers about what happened to her will soon be forthcoming. I feel like we're getting there. I feel like it's any day now type of thing. And we're going to keep going head on until Layla is found one way or the other. It's been 8 months. It's now been 11 months. And there hasn't been any sightings, phone calls or anything. And so the only thing we can really believe is that she isn't here anymore. I'm told there's a 5% chance she may walk through the door. But that's not good odds in my eyes. But until we've got evidence she's no longer here, we're going to hold on to that 5% of hope until we know for sure, until her body is recovered in some ways. We won't believe she's not here until then. So that's her brother, that's her sister, that's her baby. So sad. So sad. It's a 21-year-old white female, 4'10", 135 pounds, blonde hair, brown eyes. So if you've got tips, you can call the private investigator, Steve Fisher, who's SF Investigates on Twitter, 877-619-9890, or Kingsport Police Department at 423-343-9780. There we go. That's Lea Santanello. And then 4 months later, in October, Hollynn Snapp went missing. Now we know less about Hollynn's case, but we do have reason to believe that she has met with foul play. Now, the initial worry when Hollynn went missing, as I said at the beginning, was that it was Kingsport. It was the same town that Layla went missing in, the same age group, like Layla being 20 when she disappeared and Hollynn being 19. And they're both very petite, very, tiny, look like a child size, that Layla's only 5'10", Hollynn 4'10", and Hollynn 4'8". But no investigation that pursued the disappearance of Hollynn has revealed some worrying details and not connected to the disappearance of Lea Santanello. So this is a piece by Missing People of America, and they've covered both Layla and Hollynn, but we've covered Layla, so I'm going to go straight to Hollynn. So Holland Snapp's story shares haunting parallels with Layla's. It was so worrying. Like the families both got together, have been, supporting each other, because initially they did think that these two girls had been maybe murdered by the same person, but it appears not. But it's hauntingly similar, but they're completely different. Just 19 years old, Hollynn went missing from a residence nearby, less than 4 months after Layla's disappearance. Adopted by her mother Heather Snapp at the age of 10, Hollynn faced mental health challenges and had been in different treatment centres since she was 14. Despite her struggles, she was described as a trusting individual functioning at the level of a 10-year-old. So overly trusting, obviously with some learning difficulties, so a very vulnerable person. And she didn't come from Kingsport, although she knew people from Kingsport. She came from, it's called Chucky, which is to the south of Kingsport. The reason why she was in Kingsport was for mental health treatment, that there wasn't mental health treatment facilities appropriate for Hollynn where she lived. So she was having to travel and stay in Kingsport for mental health treatment, which is obviously how she's got in with some kind of, bad crowd maybe in Kingsport, and maybe had trusted all the wrong people. Candalee, member for 24 months. Good morning to you. Good morning. And you are one of the OGs. 2 years, a member for 2 years. Hollynn is a foster child. Yeah, but she was adopted. She was adopted when she was 10. So she'd been in foster care since she was little. And one of her previous foster mothers has been involved in the search for her. So she wasn't in the foster system. She actually had been adopted. Okay. So that's Hollynn. So the time she was last seen, or the day she was last seen, it is strange, because some say October 5th and then some say October 15th. But I think the last confirmed that the family had with her, last confirmed contact, was October 5th. So 19 years old, 4'8", 110 pounds. So the last time she was active on social media was the 4th. So Sullivan County Sheriff, 423-279-7500. All right. So the disappearance of Layla and Hollynn has left their families grappling with uncertainty and anguish, united in their search for answers. Private investigator Steve Fisher, involved in both cases, has explored potential connections between their disappearances, offering a glimmer of hope to the families desperate for closure. As the investigation continues, the Santinello and Snapp families remain resolute in their pursuit of truth and justice. Despite the passage of time, they refuse to lose hope. urging the community to come forward with any information that might shed light on Layla and Hollynn's whereabouts. So we do know that Layla's case has been moving forward, you know, because of the arrest with Michael Thompson. So that's just a little piece. Concerningly, SF investigator Steve Fisher reported this. This is from a while ago. There's no date on this. Why is there no date on it? Oh, there we go. February the 8th. So this is a while ago that he reported this. I managed to dig this out of the archives of Twitter. It took me a while to find this. Right, Holland Snap update. After much deliberation over several weeks, weighing the pros and cons, we have made the decision to release the following information. Hollynn was brutally assaulted by a male before her disappearance. I have gathered multiple witness statements corroborating this fact. Unfortunately, we have not been able to locate anyone who has seen Hollynn since the night of the assault at a residence. And the residence was at... I'll show you the map in a minute. Let me just get through this. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So residence and okay, where were we? Furthermore, there has been no activity detected on her phone or social media accounts since that time. Given the evidence at hand, we are deeply frustrated with the pace of progress in this case. Hollynn's family is experiencing profound anguish and in desperate need of answers and justice. While I have collected multiple witness statements, there are others who possess crucial information that we have yet to speak with, and we need them to come forward. While we know the identity of the male involved, and this is how they know that the cases aren't connected, because there's a specific person that they know did it, or at least know assaulted Hollynn. And we know that there's people around that person, some of whom who have spoken, some of whom may have knowledge that they've not talked about, and the police have been dragging their feet. But again, this was back in February. We ask everyone to keep Hollynn Snapp's name at the forefront of their minds and to assist us in uncovering the truth for her family. Hollynn Snapp went missing from Kingsport and is officially listed as missing since October 15th, though we suspect her disappearance occurred several days earlier. So this is Steve Fisher's flyer that he shares. So last seen at Bell Ridge Road. So the location of that assault by a man in his 50s, I might add, was from Bell Ridge Road in Kingsport. So potential foul play victim. We've got information about Hollynn's whereabouts. Who she may be with, please contact investigators immediately. And once again, we've got Steve's number, 877-619-9890. Or the detective who's overseeing the case at Kingsport PD is Anthony Stevens, 423-279-7330. And Bellridge Drive is, let me get rid of this, Bellridge Drive, Tennessee. Okay. It's here. So it's on the edge of Kingsport. It's like not in the town itself. So here's Kingsport. Yeah. Bellridge Drive is way up here. So it's just right on the edge of Kingsport. And it's in like a rural area. So I don't know what number Bellridge Drive. Let's go down to ground. Have a look. Oh, all right, nice houses. So no idea which number Belridge Drive. This is concerning. But what you can see is there's a lot of woodland. It's very rural. So loads of places to hide a body, sadly, if that's what happened. So, and also it's right on the border of, I mean, look, it's so close. There's the Virginia border. So close. Look at all that in Virginia. Very, very rural. I mean, unless someone's willing to talk, you know, if her body's stashed somewhere, I don't know how they'd find her, honestly. Okay, so we've got another report here. This is from another one from March about Layla and Hollynn. So, the family of Hollynn, this is from, what's this from? News Channel 5, WCYB. I think they've covered Summer's case, I think, as well. Okay. It's Kingsport, not Kingston. Kingsport. Did they arrest or charge the guy that assaulted Hollynn? Not that I've heard of. Not that I've heard of. So this is from March. This is actually the most recent information I can find. So the family of Hollynn spoke to her on October 5th. So that was the last time her family actually spoke to her. Her former foster mom, Leslie Hunt, last spoke to her on September 27th. So she was with Leslie when she was little, and then she was adopted by Heather. So both Leslie and Heather have been working together, and they've been kind of liaising and working with Layla's family, and they've both got Steve Fisher as their private investigator. Okay, she was last seen on October 15th. Now, we don't know whether that date, that's her official missing date. That's what's on the, the TBI website. But that's somebody not connected to the family who said they've seen her. Having said that, this is days after that assault that took place on Belridge Drive. So, I don't know whether things happened way before October 15th or whether an assault happened and then she was okay and then days after she went missing. So there's this big gap. There's a gap of about 10 days that's just completely uncertain. So the TBI issued an endangered young adult alert, as we know. So this is, I'm going to play there's a news clip. These are from a news clip. Where's the news clip? There it is. All right, I'm going to play this news clip. So 3 minutes. Because her family speak on this.
From WCYB, this is News 5, tonight at 11.
The search continues for 2 missing Kingsport women. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Kristen Kwan.
And I'm Casey Getz. 21-year-old Lea Santanello was last seen in Kingsport on June 27th, and 19-year-old Holland Snap was last seen on October 15th, also in Kingsport.
News 5's Kylie Hill has a timeline of events and also sits down with both families and shares their messages for both missing women.
21-year-old Lea Santanello went missing in Kingsport on June 27, 2023. 4 months later, 19-year-old Holland Snap disappeared in the same area. Since then, their families have been searching for answers. The family of Hollynn last spoke to her on October 5th. She was last seen on October 15th on Belridge Drive in Kingsport. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation issued an endangered young adult alert for Snap on October 26th.
Hollynn had been severely assaulted by a man in his 50s in a home on Belridge, and we still know that is true, and we believe that happened around October 9th.
Leslie Hunt, Hollynn's former foster mom, says that discovery came from witness statements.
That is according to, several people who have said things but are still not willing to tell the whole truth of what happened.
And there's no indication that she's dead.
There is no indication. I mean, without a body and without Hollynn, I think we have a 50-50 chance of getting her back alive.
Lea Santanello was last seen on June 27th in a field next to the AmeriCorps Hotel in Kingsport. She was then reported missing that same day. A search was conducted on August 4th at 562 Dale Street in Kingsport, where Layla and her boyfriend Michael Thompson lived. Thompson was arrested March 4th for posing as Layla through Cash App.
Early on, in the first few days that it was happening, I wondered if it was Michael and Layla pulling some kind of silly joke on me. I guess that was almost a little bit of hope. And as time went on, that theory kind of went down the toilet. That little bit of hope kind of went down the toilet as well.
There was confusion on the exact location of Layla's disappearance, and it was thought for a while to be the Marble Slab Creamery, but has recently been confirmed near the AmeriCorps Hotel.
The point someone was last seen is a really important piece of any missing persons investigation. So to have had that wrong for the months that they did put us behind.
Law enforcement tells me there are no updates in the cases on their end, but are still pursuing all leads and tips. Both parents leaving a message for Hollynn and Layla.
I just want her to know that I'm still fighting and that I'm not going to give up until we have her or until we have the answers that we need to lead to where she is.
I'm not giving up hope. I know you're out there somewhere and I'm going to find you if it's the last thing that I do.
If anyone has any information regarding either case, you're asked to call 1-800-TBI-FIND.
Okay. So that was a news piece on Hollynn and on Layla. So this is from Layla's foster mother, previous foster mother. This is the quote that they included in the news piece. Hollynn has been severely assaulted by a man in his 50s in the home of Belridge. We still know that that's true, and we believe that happened around October 9th. That's according to several people who have said things who are still not willing to tell the whole truth of what happened. And then it goes on to talk about Layla again. So it's really sad. It's really sad that these two young women, both, there's some numbers for you. Both of them very vulnerable, both of them suffering from addiction issues, and Hollynn severe mental health issues, and she had been for quite some time. Very vulnerable, and Cassie's not connected. Like the PI has said that the cases are not connected. They know who assaulted Hollynn. Whether that resulted in her disappearance, you kind of have to assume it is. But until we've got further information, either from law enforcement or that just comes out, we don't know. And if it's true what Layla's stepmother has been told by cops, that they're close to finding her, or at least knowing what happened, then we just have to wait. We just have to wait. Okay. So Hollynn Snapp, 19 years old, missing from Kingsport, just outside of Kingsport actually, 4 foot 810 pounds, brown hair, hazel eyes. And Layla, missing since June 26th from Kingsport, last seen near the AmeriCorps Hotel, 4 foot 10, 135 pounds, blonde hair and brown eyes. And the families will not give up. The families will not give up. Okay, now let's move on to Summer Wells. Summer has been missing. Now, lots and lots and lots of people have covered Summer's case. I'm just going to focus on the facts from the TBI. And we know very little about Summer's case, despite I've got over 500 videos on Summer's case with every possible theory, every possible permutation, everything that's been said. I mean, just crazy amount of information, and virtually none of it is confirmed. Is confirmed to be factual. It's crazy. But she's been missing from the afternoon of June 15th, 2021. She was 5 years old when she went missing. And she was last seen at her home at 110 Ben Hill Road in Hawkins County, Tennessee. And this is just a few miles to the west of Kingsport. And Summer was actually in Kingsport on the afternoon of her disappearance, swimming at the swimming hole. But we do know that she made it home. And this is the home, 110 Ben Hill Road. So if we zoom out a little bit, Kingsport is just here. So it's about 25 minutes drive. And then Summer is just over the county line in Hawkins County. Kingsport is in Sullivan County. But she's actually closer to Kingsport than she is to Rogersville, even though the house is, technically Rogersville. So very rural property on a hill. So a little hill, Summer's Hill, and then that's just a little foothill because there's an entire mountain that's behind it. Now, we do know in the first 13 days of the search, they searched for 4.5 square miles, which is a radius of roughly 1.5 miles in each direction. So it actually only takes you to about there. I think it takes you down as far as Fields Road and up as far as where the SO lives. Not even there. Frank Light, the SO, lives there. So it takes you down as far as Fields Road, as far as Light Hollow, around like that. That's what they searched. Now, much more difficult terrain than in Sebastian's case, but it's rough. And of course, she went missing in June, so the foliage was very, very intense for searchers to work through. They did come back in October, early December, and did another kind of 2-day search, focusing, as they always have, on this area here. And unconfirmed by law enforcement, but spoken of by several neighbours, some footprints that were found here. One on this property, somewhere in here, and then one nearer to the road. So 2 sets of child-sized footprints that a search dog found, who was searching for Summer's scent. That's the only indication that we've got that she possibly either was taken that way. I don't think she could have walked that way herself personally because of the height of this ridge. But it has been unconfirmed by law enforcement. I think those footprints are real. I do think those were Summer's. However, I did try to contact Leslie Earhart, the person the media person from the TBI, but she didn't respond to me, so there's that. But this is what we know, basically all we know about Summer's case. And we haven't had an update from the TBI since the 14th of June of last year. They did an update, a written update, to coincide with the 2-year mark of Summer being gone, and nothing since. We haven't had a press conference for 2 years now. The last press conference we had from the TBI was June 15th, 2022. I can't with these people. I can't with these people. And then June 15th of last year, News Nation did they do like a little mini series called Missing. So they did Summer last year on June 15th to coincide with the 2-year mark. And Ansley Daniel from the news channel WJHL, she was interviewed by News Nation, and it was her that said that Sheriff Ronnie Lawson didn't want to go on camera as an on-camera interview. However, they did email, they did exchange emails, and he said that he hoped to have an update in the near future on the case. We're still waiting more than 11 months later. So we're going to read the TBI FAQs on this. What about the milk bottle pic? She definitely looked, I think she was alive in that pic. The police didn't confirm the date on it. We know from Candice speaking to the channel Unmasked that it was taken at 3:11. So that was about 8 minutes away from home. But law enforcement haven't confirmed anything to do with the timeline. They refuse to comment on the timeline. And this is the biggest issue I've had with the TBI, because there's no reason why they couldn't have given us some basic facts about the timeline. So I don't know why they can't. Anyway, this is from the TBI from June 14th, 2023. On June 15th, 2021, Summer Wells disappeared, leading to one of the most exhaustive and involved missing child cases we've ever investigated. Though we have no new details to share, rest assured we're continuing to work with the FBI and Hawkins County Sheriff's Office to chase every lead and ask every question and search every place we can to find Summer. We won't stop until we have answers. Summer remains the subject of an ongoing Amber Alert. Thanks to forensic artists with National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children, we have an age progression image that shows what Summer may look like today. We ask the public to help us by refraining from sharing speculation posted by or discussed by non-official sources and reporting only credible tips or information to 1-800-TBI-FIND. And that was the age progressed image that many of us said looks way older. Like at that point, Summer would have been 7. She's now 8. But even as an 8-year-old, I think that kid there, that age progression AI generated image, looks at 10, 11, in my opinion. Birdie's Crime Chat. That video was either edited or not filmed on 6/15/21, or both. Detectives said cannot be used for any circumstantial evidence. Where did you hear that from? Which detective said that? Could you point me to the place where the detective actually said that, please? Not just what someone thought, an actual detective. So what's the name and where did they say it? No, I did a video about the timeline of the swimming hole. Angie Baby. Michelle did a great video about the timestamp on that picture. No, it was on the swimming hole video. I looked at the metadata on TikTok as to when that was posted. That was the swimming hole video, not the milk jugs video or milk jugs photo. She's alive. She's totally alive in the milk jugs video. She's totally alive. What's my thought on Hunter? I think he's been cast as one of the villains, and I don't think he had anything to do with Summer's disappearance at all. Are her brothers of age yet? Well, they were 12, 11, and 9 in 2021, so they'd now be 15, 14, and 11. No, 12. So no, they're not of age. I think the eldest one will turn 16 later this year. So no, nowhere close to age. If you mean of age that's been like 18, then it is. It's terrible. I mean, it looks like a young Candice. Anyway, that was the first update we'd had for 6 months. And all they did was give us the age progressed image. That's it. So the last actual update was from November 15th, 2022. So Summer had been missing for 18 months at this point. The investigation into the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of Summer Wells remains active and ongoing. In order to preserve the integrity of the investigation, we cannot discuss specifics. Unfortunately, we have no new updates to provide publicly. Should we develop new information that could help in locating Summer, we will notify the news media and the public immediately. The information released by the TBI throughout the investigation, including a list of frequently asked questions, can be reviewed below. And then before that, we'd had 6/15/2022. So this was the 1 year mark. So they released this. They also did a press conference where basically they said, we can't tell you anything. Basically, they wouldn't answer any questions. So we have not had a press conference on Summer Wells for nearly 2 years now. All right, so this is from 6/15/2022. Again, an update that tells us nothing new. At approximately 6:30 p.m., so we know it was 6:23 and 6:26, that there was 2 911 calls. Candice made a 911 call from Ben Hill Road, and then Don Wells, who was on his way home, also called 911. His call was from Washington County, where he'd been working, and his call had to be transferred to Hawkins County. So the calls were 6:23 and 6:26, I think. And the dispatch audio is just after 6:30, that the dispatch audio starts when people were being dispatched. So at approximately 6:30 p.m. on June 15th, 2021, Summer Wells was reported missing from her home on Ben Hill Road in the Beach Creek community of Hawkins County. At that time, no one imagined we would still be searching for her a year later. And no one could imagine that we'd still be searching for her 3 years later. 3 years later. We said from the beginning that this case is outside of the norm. There are few clues as to what happened to Summer, despite investigators doing everything within their power to find answers. All possibilities are still being explored. What text did Hunter delete off Candice's phone? None, as far as we know, because you can get deleted texts off someone's phone. So the cops would know if there was any. If there was any. Birdie, did you respond to tell me which? Oh, okay. You called Hawkins County to ask them if video could be used for circumstantial evidence based on location, appearance of possible injuries. He said, no, it can't be used. He said, no, it can't be used. Why? What? Why? Why can't a video be used? It can't be used for possible injuries because there's no apparent injuries. But why couldn't a video be used for location? Either that detective doesn't know what he's talking about, which I find difficult to believe, or he's not telling the truth. Video evidence admissible in court has to meet criteria. It has to accurately represent the person on the date of missing or other details. Google digital evidence court admissible criteria. It can't be edited, no AI, and depict the victim accurately on the date reportedly filmed. There's no reason why that video, like they'll have the metadata of that video. They'll know whether that video on Candice's phone had been edited. So they'll know that. You can tell from the metadata when a video has been edited. So if you spoke to Birdie, if you spoke to John Pruitt, I think he's just sick of people ringing him. Okay. Many of you have asked for details about what's been done in the last year. We can tell you that agents and detectives have worked thousands of hours on this case. Numerous search warrants have been executed. Cell phone data has been analysed, and any other available digital evidence has been collected, searched and documented. This includes the social media accounts of those associated with Summer. 3 large-scale ground searches have taken place in the last year. They haven't. 1 large-scale ground search was in the first 13 days. Then they came back for 2 days, which was a very targeted search on the area that I've previously showed you, which was this area around here. Hold on, zoom out a bit. This area around here. The helicopter was going round and round and round and round and round. And then they came back in February and did 1 day. And they were spotted down here on Fields Road, somewhere down here on Fields Road. They were also spotted over the road somewhere down one of these roads here. So I don't consider a 2-day search and a 1-day search that were both targeted to specific areas large scale. So essentially, they did 1 large scale search. And although that was impressive, given the terrain that was just really hard to, you can't imagine how difficult that terrain would be. They actually only covered 4.5 square miles, which is about 1.5 mile radius, if that, of the home. Summer could easily have walked out of that search radius, easily. Did Fred not get the blame at any point? Yeah, everyone's had the blame. Everyone's been blamed at some point. Did Ali die? Apparently so. You heard it wasn't true. Thought I'm mumper. I heard Ali had died. I've not investigated it. I don't really, if she died, it's sad for her family, but it's not relevant to the case. Anyway, So this includes the social media accounts of those associated with Summer. 3 large-scale ground searches have taken place in the last year with the assistance of more than 100 local, state and federal agencies. Those searches don't account for the numerous other targeted searches that agents and detectives have done while following up on potential leads. From the TBI alone, more than 100 agents, intelligence analysts and support staff from across the state have been involved in this case. TBI agents working alongside the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI have conducted nearly 170 interviews during the investigation. That does not count the hundreds of phone calls made to follow up on tips reported to law enforcement that were the result of non-factual information posted on social media. Oh dear. While investigators have been diligently working to find answers, they've had to deal with hundreds of tips generated by false information that in some cases has been intentionally spread across social media platforms. To date, we've received well over 2,000 tips. The vast majority of those pertain to rumours and speculation. We know that this case has attracted the attention of many across the country who genuinely care about Summer and want nothing more than to help find answers, and we appreciate the interest. However, we are also aware that some individuals are using this case for their own personal gain by spreading false information on social media, and it's all happening in Sebastian's case now. Everybody's moved on to spreading false information and haranguing the family in Sebastian's case. This has had a major impact on the investigation. Moving forward, we ask the public not to submit tips as a result of a video you viewed on YouTube or a theory you've seen posted on TikTok, or that you've seen written in your tea leaves, or that your spirit box has told you. But that's what I've added. Please help us and only call if you have direct specific information about the disappearance of Summer. We can't begin to express our gratitude for the support and assistance from the Hawkins County community and surrounding areas. The Mount Carmel Free Will Baptist Church provided the location for a command post during all 3 large-scale searches. 1 large-scale search, 2 targeted moderate searches. Numerous organisations and businesses made sure search teams and investigators had food, drinks and other supplies. The contributions of the members of each rescue squad and volunteer fire department within Hawkins County simply can't be measured. We also appreciate the cooperation of the property owners in Beech Creek, most of which gave us whatever access we needed. We wanted to assure everyone who has been part of this investigation or has been following this case that it is not cold. So this is 2 years ago. So I want to know, is this case now calls? Is this case now cold? That's what I want to know. Is it now cold? Continue to roll up on potential leads. All right, so this is the FAQs. Is this considered a cold case? No. Investigative work continues to occur almost daily. Is it still, though? Is it still? Is the Amber Alert still active? Yes, it is. Remains active until a child is located. When was Summer last seen? Her mother reports last seen her on the afternoon of June 15th at their home in the 100 block of Ben Hill Road. In order to preserve the integrity of the investigation, we will not provide additional information regarding the timeline. I don't know why. I don't know why they can't give us a basic timeline. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I've never understood that. Have you searched the home and property around the residence? Yes, more than once, including the basement, crawl space. So that little hidey hole where the dogs go. All vehicles, of which there were many on the property. Outbuildings, 3 sheds, 3 sheds, barrels and other items located on the property. Additionally, K9 teams specialising in a variety of search methods have also been utilised. Have you searched the phones and computers belonging to the Wells family? Yes, working alongside the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI, numerous subpoenas and search warrants have been obtained, resulting in any available digital evidence being collected, searched, and documented. This includes social media accounts. Have you analysed cell phone data? Yes. cell phone data and cell tower data has been analysed. So they've been able to like build like a geofencing map. Have you searched the flower bed? Oh dear. There was not a flower bed. Summer's mother and grandmother stated she was planting flowers with them shortly before she was last seen. The flowers were planted in pots, and they weren't even big pots. And yes, the pots were examined. How many ground searches have been conducted? 1 large-scale ground search and 2 moderate targeted searches have occurred. Dozens of other targeted searches have been conducted over the last year as a result of investigators following up on leads. Have you searched waterways in the area? Yes, dive teams were brought in to search bodies of water in the area on several different occasions. Have you conducted aerial searches? Yes, numerous searches from the area have been completed. Additionally, drones were used to map the area and to pinpoint bodies of water as well as other points of interest. Will additional searches be conducted? Investigators will continue to search points of interest as they are developed, as well as follow up on tips regarding Summer's whereabouts. Have you collected and reviewed surveillance video? Yes, we've conducted surveillance photos. We've collected surveillance photos and videos from a variety of locations. Additionally, the entire area was canvassed in an effort to locate any residential cameras that weren't voluntarily reported. Please keep in mind that Beach Creek is very rural with few businesses and no traffic cameras. So they'd have been caught on numerous cameras in Kingsport. So we've been told by, the rumour mill that there was a camera on the corner of Ben Hill Road. We've been told that. We've also been told that there's trail cameras further down Ben Hill Road, but that hasn't been confirmed by law enforcement. We've just had this kind of blanket, yes, we've checked everything. Have you questioned the parents? Yes, both have been questioned more than once, and they all passed polygraphs, allegedly. And that was confirmed by Sheriff Ronnie Lawson to Brian Entin. Brian Entin asked him, and he said yes. They all passed polygraphs, whatever that means. If you're into polys, then they all passed. Have you questioned others that were in the home at the time Summer went missing? Yes, Summer's brothers have been interviewed along with others who stayed in the home in the months before her disappearance. So that included like Jose. They actually sent the FBI to question Jose. Have you questioned neighbours and searched their properties? Yes. Have you questioned registered sex offenders in the area? Yes. Is there any evidence Summer was abducted? None that we've developed at this stage. However, we continue to investigate all possibilities. Is the FBI involved? Yes, they've been involved since the Amber Alert was issued. Additionally, in the first week, the FBI Child Abduction Rapid Deployment, or CARD team, responded to the area. FBI agents continue to assist with the investigation. Why did you release the information on the Toyota truck? An individual who travels through the area regularly as part of his job stated he recalls possibly seeing a 1998 to 2000 maroon or red Toyota Tacoma with a full bed ladder rack and white buckets in the truck bed. The individual stated that the truck might have been parked in the area of Beach Creek and Ben Hill Road in the late afternoon to early evening on either Monday, June 14th or Tuesday, June 15th. That vehicle was not captured on surveillance cameras. In an effort to cover all bases and identify the driver, the TBI, in agreement with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI, released the vehicle description. Our hope was that the individual might have information that could help the investigation. The driver has not come forward, nor have the hundreds of vehicles reported to us matched the description. That matched the description panned out. So I'm still curious about the Toyota truck. I don't know whether it's a red herring. I don't know. I've kind of concluded it was a red herring, but why is the driver not come forward? I mean, that's curious. That's always been curious to me. So this is 3/2/22. This was when they did a search just before the spring. The sweep teams returned to Hawkins County as part of a planned search that focused on previously identified areas of interest. Additionally, agents and detectives continue to follow up on potential leads. So 1-800-TBI find. So these were some pictures from February. This is in the Fields Road area. I think people located where that barn is specifically. So again, it's very close to home. Like Fields Road is, so there's Ben Hill Road. Fields Road is down here. So that's Bell Road, I think. And then this is Fields Road. So this is just the edge of that 4.5 square miles. It would be that edge. So it's interesting that they've continued to go back there. And I think it's because they believe Summer went in this direction. Because of those footprints. That's what I believe. They may have other reasons why. Because in November when they went back, November 2021, when they went back, I've got the helicopter printout somewhere that just went round and round and round and round and round this area. It's interesting that they've always focused on that area. Should they have gone further out? Yeah, I think so. So this is the 6-month mark, 12/15/21. It's been 6 months since 5-year-old Summer Wells was reported missing from her home on Ben Hill Road. The case remains unsolved and weighs heavily on those working to find answers. The investigation remains active and ongoing as TBI agents work alongside the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI to determine what happened to Summer. At this time, there's no evidence that she was abducted. However, all avenues continue to be explored, including foul play and the possibility that she wandered off and became lost in the mountainous and rough terrain surrounding her home. We are asking anyone who saw Summer at any time on Tuesday, June 15th, to come forward if they haven't done so already. 1-800-TBI find. Be cautious about donating to private individuals who claim to be working with law enforcement on this case. We've been made aware of several individuals who appear to be using Summer's disappearance for their own personal gain. Okay. So this is 11/10/21. It's interesting going back looking at all of these old things. The investigation into the disappearance of 5-year-old Summer Wells remains active and ongoing. The Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and TBI continue to work alongside the FBI to determine what happened to Summer. As this is an ongoing investigation, we are limited to the details we can provide. However, since we aren't able to respond to all individual queries, we've worked with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office to compile a list of questions we frequently receive. Okay. So we've read all these already. So that this is all what they compiled in November. So that's all the same. Truck. 11/4/21. TBI agents continue to work with Hawkins County. So by 11/4/21, so November 4th, they'd received 1,500 tips. Wow. 8/4/21. So continue to search for the truck. Oh, remember that? It brought to our attention that a photo of what the truck might look like has been circulating on social media, along with claims that the vehicle has been located. This is not accurate. Additionally, the photo was not released by law enforcement. Yeah, I remember that. That created quite a stir. 7/8/21, 1:45 p.m. That's specific. To date, we've received more than 870 tips in the search for Summer Wells. So continue to search. 7/1/21 at 1:05 p.m. We appreciate your partnership and ongoing interest in search for Summer Wells. To date, we've vetted 730 tips. No solid leads. 6/26/21 at 4:25 p.m. Been working around the clock, so we're in the early days here. So that's when they released the Toyota truck 626. Received information that a Toyota pickup truck was seen in the area. That was a big deal when that came out. That was a big deal when that came out. So the individual's not a suspect, but a potential witness. 6:25 at 1:30 to include number of agencies. 6:22, 6:19, 6:18. So the Amber Alert was issued the following day, less than 12 hours later. So Summer has blonde hair, blue eyes, stands 3 foot, or at least she did in 2021. She'd be much taller now, and weighs approximately 40 pounds. She was reportedly last seen wearing grey pants, a pink shirt, and was possibly barefoot. At the time, the circumstances of Summer's disappearance remain unclear. Should we develop information that she was abducted, have suspect and vehicle specifics to provide, we will share it. So they shared the truck, but then nothing came of that. So teams have searched approximately 3,000 acres. So that was of, when was that? 6:18. They did a lot of work in those early days. You can't fault the amount of work they put in those early days. But she's been gone nearly 3 years. And the thing is, she is so small. They could so easily have missed her in that terrain. They could so easily have missed her. So anyone with information, credible information about Summer Wells, who is now 8 years old, is asked to contact the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND or tips to TBI at tion.gov or the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office at 423-272-7121. She is a cutie. She is. She is indeed. All right, lastly, we've got this curious case of Kaitlyn Ledbetter. Why this case has not generated more interest, I have no idea. Because of all the cases that are currently active in Tennessee, at least that I've covered, this is the most peculiar, in my opinion. And it's just had no interest whatsoever. No interest at all. So this is Kaitlyn Ledbetter, 25 years old at the time of her disappearance. She'd now be 28. She was last seen on May the 2nd of 2021. And she does not appear on the TBI's website. She does not appear on the TBI's website. So we've got Tennessee's missing children. Of course, she's not a child. She's 25. So the children listed on this page do not represent all missing children in Tennessee. Those posted below may be those in a variety of circumstances, including parental abductions, children considered at risk, those who've left home on their own, and other types of cases, which publicly may prove helpful in locating them. Oh, in which publicity may be helpful. Click each picture. So there's all these kids who don't have alerts. All these kids here who don't have alerts who are currently missing in Tennessee. None of these kids have alerts. These are just missing children. And this is just some of them that the TBI has chosen to share. And then we've got missing adults. So those are the child alerts that we've already gone through. Those are the children with alerts and young persons. All right. Then we've got missing adults. So these are adults who've got silver alerts. So these are the missing adults. All these people here. Kaitlyn Ledbetter does not appear anywhere on the TBI's website. So I just want you, want you to bear that in mind. And then we've got missing children 18 and over. So these were reported missing, like when they were children, but they're now like adults from a long time ago. So we've got 1981, 1987, 87, 89, 96, 96, 3 years old, still missing. 99, 99, 2001, 2003, 2006, 2008. And we've got this one out of order from 2016. But Kaitlyn Ledbetter and so many more. I think the reason why I've continued to think about Kaitlyn is because it's such a strange case. And I became aware of Kaitlyn's case in the early days of Summer's case, actually. She went missing a month before Summer Wells. So I did come across her case in those early days. And I've done a few videos. Actually, I did her as one of my Cold Case Christmas episodes this year, well, last year. And I've done a few videos, including details on Kaitlyn Ledbetter, but there's just nothing. But we do know some stuff. Sonia, you've been member for 25 months. You are an OG. So the disappearance of Kaitlyn Ledbetter. All right. So this is from Crime Wire. So this has just been, a bunch of stuff's been pulled together. And it's curious. This case is so curious. So, born in 95, raised in Indiana, just outside of Indianapolis, near her mother's hometown. But she was living with her father in central Tennessee when she was last seen. She disappeared from her dad's home. So completely failed by law enforcement. I think that's one of the reasons why I've kept going back to it is just this is she has been failed so much by law enforcement. She really has. Thank you, Elf, for gifting 1 membership. That's very kind of you. And April, welcome. Welcome, April. You get a month's free membership courtesy of Elf. Thank you so much. So early in the morning, around 5:30, this is according to her dad, who is dubious. The dad's dubious, very dubious. So this is according to her dad. 5:30 a.m. on May the 2nd, 2021, when Scott Ledbetter claims he last saw his daughter. He told the police that Kaitlyn had gotten into an argument with his girlfriend. His girlfriend's called Crystal. So Kaitlyn and Crystal were arguing. And Scott came into the room and Kaitlyn fled. She jumped out of a window that was 7 foot high and was never seen again, wearing just a crop top, a blue crop top, blue and white polka dot pajama bottoms, and she was barefooted. So there's things about Tennessee and people going missing barefooted. So she jumped out of a window and ran into the woods. That's the story, and she was never seen again. Heavily wooded area. She's 25, I think, at the time. Not 20, not 26. But anyway, it doesn't matter. All right, so blue sleeveless shirt with white shorts with blue polka dots. That's Kaitlyn. I do think she has a look of Libby German from the Delphi case. So this is Overton County, Hillam in Middle Tennessee. So we're gonna. So it was the 100 block of Turkey Town Road, Hillam. Okay. All right. This is where it is. So it's in the middle of nowhere. And the woods just go on for miles and miles and miles and miles. Right? She lived in the 100 block of Turkeytown Road in Hillam, which is Overton County. Look at these woods here. It just goes on for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. So in relation to the wider world, it's a few miles, well, quite a few miles east of Nashville. So Middle Tennessee. And apparently the story is that she jumped out of the window and ran into the woods and was never seen again. I can't show you Kaitlyn's house. Why can't I show you Kaitlyn's house? Because it burnt down. It burnt to a crisp. Burnt to a crisp in August of 2021. And guess what? The only other witness to Kaitlyn's disappearance, who was her dad's girlfriend, died in the fire. Okay. Right. So what did Overton County do about this? Sweet FA. No official statements. No press releases from Overton County. Nothing. So there's been some local interest. Very sus. Very sus. This is why I don't know why more people aren't getting into this. Because, these social media sleuths who like to harass families. Maybe Scott Ledbetter. I'm just saying. Maybe Scott Ledbetter needs looking at. So, November of 2021, WKRN in Nashville reported that many local residents believe that local law enforcement waited 9 months before conducting a proper search of the property. Now, they couldn't search the property by November of 2021. Why couldn't they search the property? I mean, that's not even 9 months. Like June, July, August, September, October, November. That's 7 months. So November of 2021, WKRN said that local law enforcement waited 9 months. Well, it wasn't even 9 months. That was 7 months. So anyhow, they did actually send a couple of cops out about a week after she went missing. So what happened was, right, her dad reported to other members of the family that Kaitlyn had run off. Right, so Kaitlyn had 2 siblings. She had an older sibling called Kaylee and a younger sibling. Sadly, Kaitlyn and Aaron's mother died in 2013. And after she died, Kaitlyn and her brother went to live with their dad in Tennessee. So that's how she ended up in Tennessee, even though she's from Indianapolis. And the older sister, Kaylee, was, I think, still living in Indiana. So Scott told Kaylee drove down to Tennessee and reported her missing. And they said, well, she's an adult. She's an adult. She can do what she wants. So did they run after her? Apparently not. No. So she can do what she wants. So it was a few days after that, they did send a couple of cops out. No one bothered searching the house. They just sent a couple of cops out with a tracker dog, and the dog got a scent. The dog got a scent from the house through the woods to the road. Okay. All right. But they did do, it was a few months later, they did get a search party together. You know, they actually got off their backsides, got a search party together to look through some of the woods, but it was far too little, far too late. I mean, if it's true that she ran into the woods and got lost and got injured, well, she'd have died of starvation by the time the cops bothered to send an actual search party out. Why do you jump out of a 7-foot window with just shorts on, pajama shorts? Why do you jump out of a 7-foot window? Right? If you wanted to go for a walk, you know, because you'd had an argument with somebody and you wanted to go off and calm down, which is perfectly normal, you'd probably have got dressed, not jumped out of a window, and maybe, just maybe, you put some shoes on. I don't know. I'm just saying. All right. Maybe not. Maybe you like walking barefoot, and that's fine. But I'd imagine at the very least, you'd go out of the door. At the very least. All right. So, lost all available evidence. All of it. All available evidence. All right. So, the scent was tracked from... Okay. So, again, I can't show you the house because the house was gone. But we just know that it was in the 100 block of Turkeytown Road, so it's here. So it went through the woods. It went through the woods and it came out. I don't know the exact track. Yeah, she ran from her dad's. Yeah, she was living at her dad's. She'd been living at her dad's since 2013 when her mother died. All right, so I don't know the exact track. I don't know the exact location. All I've been able to glean is that it went through some woods onto a road for about 1/4 mile, and then it stopped at a gate near the road. Now, there's a gate here. I don't know whether it's this gate. There's a gate around here somewhere. Maybe there's not. But that's a 1/4 mile. But whichever way she went, the dog tracked her for about 1/4 mile. All right. And that was that. That's all they bothered doing. And then in August of 2021, so, you know, even if they had been investigating, you know, from May to August, they'd not bothered to search the house. And then, sadly, the house burned down. Crystal Tyson, who was dating Caitlyn's father, Scott. August 2nd, 2021. Law enforcement returned to the residence because the house was on fire. And Crystal Tyson, girlfriend, was killed. She was found in the basement. So why she hadn't been able to get out, because it wasn't like she was asleep, unless she was, I guess she could have been asleep in the basement and not realised the house was on fire. I guess there's that. But she was found, her charred remains were found in the basement of this house. Here's the house. That's all that was left of it. That's the house. So any evidence that might have been remaining in that house pertaining to Caitlyn was lost. And Crystal died. The only other witness, apart from her dad, to anything that might have gone down on that early morning hours when Caitlyn was supposedly, you know, so frightened or angry that she jumped out of a window, was killed in that fire. The only person who knows anything is Scott Ledbetter. So these are just some of the problems with law enforcement's failure here. They waited over 9 months to do an official search for Caitlyn. Could have been 7 months, but that was, you know, an actual search party. Here's the kicker. They did get Kaitlyn's phone records. Guess what happened? They lost them. A new sheriff took over. And all the people in the local community and Kaitlyn's family who've been, you know, trying to get law enforcement to actually investigate were hopeful when a new sheriff took over. And the new sheriff did do some investigations on the case and found out that all the files had been lost pertaining to Kaitlyn's phone records. The family were told that many of Kaitlyn's texts from around the time of her disappearance had just disappeared, just totally disappeared from police records. When Scott Ledbetter's house burnt down in a suspicious fire of August of 2021, the same house that Kaitlyn ran away from, any remaining evidence about her disappearance was destroyed. Even more grim is knowing that Scott's girlfriend, Crystal Tyson, who was perhaps the cause of Kaitlyn's disappearance, well, it was an argument with Crystal, but that's only according to Scott. This is according to Scott, right? Harry may have witnessed something, was killed in the fire. Eric Hammond, a concerned local resident. Eric has been on it in my cold case Christmas episode from was it last year or the year? But I can't remember. I do know I did it as a cold case Christmas. I used some quotes from Eric Hammond. He's a concerned local. He's not connected to the family. He's just a very concerned local person, as are many people in that area. Says, in this area, if you're not a certain type of person, then you don't get the same response from law enforcement as other people do. You don't get the same treatment as the guy in the nice neighborhood driving a Mercedes. You kind of get written off. And is it as simple as that? Did the cops just think, oh, a girl had an argument with her dad and her dad's girlfriend and she'll come back? Why wasn't the father questioned? It's a very good question. It's a very good question. So, some background there. No one has heard from Kaitlyn since she disappeared. Not even her boyfriend. So she also had a boyfriend called Dustin, who's also a bit shady. But to me, this young woman has been failed by everybody. Except some people from the local community who have continued to, you know, think about her and hope that more can be done, and her family, other than Scott Ledbetter. There's been no evidence found to establish any leads. Why would she leave so suddenly with no phone or shoes? Was she picked up by somebody with sinister intentions? Did Crystal Tyson know something that could have solved the case? Was there any valuable evidence destroyed in her father's house fire? Have the local police handled the case properly? In question to that last one, absolutely not. So if you've got any information regarding Kaitlyn's disappearance, the Overton County Sheriff's Department in Livingston, Tennessee, well, you can call them, but they'll probably lose your tip anyway. But it's 931-823-5635. So that's, again, I butchered that. 931-823-5635. Recently, a picture was featured on a billboard in the area. Locals in the area feel that many cases of missing and murdered women and men, as many as 14 victims, have been largely ignored by local law enforcement, and family and friends are still seeking answers. Oh, that's my video. They've linked my video. How kind of them. So this was one of the video I did. Didn't know they'd linked my video.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle.
All right, let's... I had a thought about the dog track somewhere. Is it this video? Oh, there we go. Let's listen to a little bit of this. So this is from... I've I've linked this video, but I've done a few that I've covered the basics of her case, and like I said, I covered her in a cold case Christmas as well. Let's listen to a bit of this.
So we have to assume that they found an item of clothing that only had Kaitlyn's son on it.
Hold on.
Talking about.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Right. There was a really good interview. By a channel called TC Spotlight, I think it was called. TC Spotlight. And she had an interview with Kaitlyn's sister, Kaylee, and Kaitlyn's auntie. And the audio is so bad. However, it was a very interesting listen. They have reason to believe that Kaitlyn's dad, Scott, and Dustin were, whether it's in some kind of relationship or whether they were in cahoots of some kind, but the family, side-eyeing, more than side-eyeing, believe that Dustin and Scott know way more than what they're letting on. Where's her brother? I don't know where he is now, but he's now estranged from Scott. So I don't know where he is now. So the family have all distanced themselves from Scott, and Scott's just, I don't know, gone living elsewhere. Scott doesn't want anything to do with any of this. Scott is just not interested. So yeah, I've played a little clip.
Because I can tell what.
Right.
What do we audio up? Audio's as high as I can make it, guys.
They took off, went out, went their way, all that, came back, and nothing came of that search. So the next morning when they did come out and they had,
So I think this is Kaitlyn's auntie speaking, who went there to assist in the search, and Kaitlyn's dad was not happy that people were out there searching. So the sheriff department sent a couple of guys with dogs out there and didn't come up with anything. But then the day after, now I don't know how many days after Kaitlyn disappeared this was, the day after, some more searchers turned up, and that's what Kaitlyn's auntie's talking about.
Thank you, Elf, for the $2. Was there an investigation of the fire? Probably not. I don't think so. Not a serious one, anyway. So, oh dear. So they sent a couple of sheriff's deputies out who just like had a look around. Then the day after, they sent a dog, and the dog got the track. So that's what the auntie's talking about.
Here's the thing that they had, and another person came out and asked if we could go to Caitlyn's room and find something that only she had. And at that point, I told the lady, why don't you go in there? You know what you're looking for.
Okay, so that's perfectly normal that a team with dogs who are live scent tracking will want a scent article that only Kaitlyn has either worn or handled. so it avoids mixed scent. And it's difficult in a household where there's several people. But they went in Kaitlyn's room, so likely only her would have been there. However, Kaitlyn has a boyfriend, so we've got to bear this in mind that maybe Kaitlyn's boyfriend had been in that room. So we have to assume that they found an item of clothing that only had Kaitlyn's son on it, but we don't know that. We don't know that.
Oh yeah, and you find something, her sister went in with her and said, you know what you're looking for, so this way we got it right this time. Yeah. And so they're the ones that came back and said that they did find, but they didn't come back and say that. I take that back. The sheriff came back and said later on that night that actually was, I don't know if it was that night, so don't take my word, I don't know if it was that night or the next day when he came in and said.
Okay, so the sheriff came either that night or in the morning and said this.
They had, both dogs had followed a scent through the woods where her dad said she supposedly had went in the woods. Through the woods and came out on, it's the main road there, I don't know what it is. It's going to what do you say? Highway 85? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So yes. Okay, so they had followed, the dogs had followed it through the woods to cross that highway, and it was probably about a quarter-mile down from Turkey Town Road. He said there was a gate, and that they found one footprint, one barefoot footprint. And so... Did they take a picture of it? No, they decided that she probably just decided to get in the car with somebody. And that's when they're going to leave it. Then they're going to call the search off. They're going to call the search off because she probably just went off on her own with somebody.
This is allegedly, according to the family. This is not from law enforcement, so this is hearsay. But allegedly, the sheriff's department called the search off because Kaitlyn is an adult. She's 25 when she disappeared. She just got into a car with someone and has never been seen since. Well, wouldn't she still be considered vulnerable? Even if she chose to get in a car with someone, she chose to get in a car with someone wearing nothing but pajamas, taking nothing with her whatsoever, and she was barefoot. Doesn't that strike you as odd? Doesn't that say foul play? But yet they call the search off. So where is this alleged gate then? Okay, so this is Turkey Town Road, and this is Highway 85. And it's a quite short, so they tracked her from her home. This is 100 block around here. So she ran into the woods and they tracked her all the way through the woods onto Highway 85. But then a quarter of a mile down that road, they found one barefoot footprint. Where have we heard that before? Where have we heard that before?
Summer Wells. All right, so they tracked her a quarter of a mile. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Now, 2 weeks ago, I'm really pleased to report this. 2 weeks ago, somebody called Where Are They podcast just 2 weeks ago, and this has only had 273 views in 2 weeks. But they've covered Kaitlyn's case. So I'm going to play a little bit of this, and hopefully it will whet your appetite so that you will go and listen to the whole thing again. I'm going to like this. 23 likes, including mine. That's all. This is how little Kaitlyn Ledbetter is noticed. This is how little Kaitlyn Ledbetter is important to people on social media. So the link to this is already in the description box, but I am going to put it in the chat, and I'm going to just play a little bit of this while I go and let Cassie out for a wee because she's been bugging me for the last 10 minutes. All right, so we'll go from the search.
The search. where things do get complicated. The police didn't want to search. They didn't think there was any reason to. To them, they didn't even have a missing person. So some of Kaitlyn's family did come out to search. But according to them, Scott only went out to search with them one time. The rest of the time, he was quite uninterested in helping. Is that suspicious? Or did he truly just believe his 25-year-old daughter was fine and needed time away? Authorities never even came out to Kaitlyn's house where she was living with Crystal and Scott to search until a full week after Kaitlyn had gone missing. And even then, they didn't go inside the home. They were interested in searching the woods around the home. Meanwhile, her siblings, aunts, and friends were worried sick. When a family member did come forward and said that they received that text message from Kaitlyn at 7 a.m., although there was no clarification on how she even had her phone at 7 a.m. if she left without it an hour and a half prior, this made law enforcement believe that Kaitlyn was not in the woods, as she wouldn't have had cell service out there. I know you all probably have a lot of questions about the cell phone, and I do too. And as of right now, I cannot answer them. Did she have her phone or not? A week after Kaitlyn disappeared, law enforcement did bring out search dogs to the Ledbetter property, and these search dogs tracked Kaitlyn's scent from the home to the road where the scent stopped. There was no mention of the dogs tracking her scent to the woods at all. Authorities did not follow up again for several months, actually, believing that Kaitlyn likely just left the house and left with someone. It's important to note, I'm not sure if Kaitlyn even had her driver's license, but at this time, she did not own a car.
Okay. So she supposedly jumped out of the window at 5:30 a.m. But then at 7 a.m., taking nothing with her and barefooted, jumped out of a window. And then at 7 a.m., a friend or family member got a text from Kaitlyn's phone. So how did Kaitlyn, taking nothing with her, text someone at 7 a.m.? So did she have a phone or not? Apparently, she took nothing with her, according to her dad. So did she have shoes on? No, she was barefooted. She was wearing a blue crop top t-shirt, blue kind of pajama shorts, like white and blue polka dots, and she was barefooted. And a quarter of a mile away, the dog tracked her for a quarter of a mile to the side of a road, and they found one barefooted footprint. Therefore, the sheriffs called the search off. Not that they'd done much searching, but called the search off because they said she was an adult and she voluntarily, obviously, got into someone's car. How would they know that? And even if she got into someone's car, she had nothing with her and she was barefooted. And she'd had this argument, supposedly, with her dad's girlfriend. So she wasn't planning to go anywhere. It was 5:30 in the morning. So there's something very, very, very wrong with this case. And then the sheriff's office lost her phone records. Now, look, I speculated in this video. Which video? I can't even find my own video now. So many windows open. Okay, this video. I speculated in this video that it could actually have been chased by either her dad or her boyfriend, who, according to the family, are both in cahoots. So she could have been chased, like, through the woods. I don't know what track she went, but apparently if she ran through the woods, this dog track, whatever track it took to the road, what if her dad or her boyfriend got in a car to find her, picked her up, and they did something to her. We'll probably never know. Because Scott Ledbetter is just living his life, estranged from his family. His family are desperate for answers, and there are none. And as far as I know, there is no investigation that's ongoing, as far as I know. Because the cops just said she left of her own free will. So there you go. There you go. But if you do have a tip for Overton County to ignore, I am obliged to share the phone number, which is Overton County Sheriff's Department in Livingston, Tennessee, 931-823-5635. Everybody needs to be talking about Kaitlyn Leadbetter, because there's something very, very, very wrong with this case. Thought she was pregnant. I don't know that if she was pregnant or not. So how were other relationships with the father, like the sons, anyone interviewed? She had an older sister who was the one who actually reported her missing. The dad just wasn't interested. Dad just wasn't interested in it at all. Her younger brother helped search for her. How old was she? 25 when she went missing. 28 now. Where's the dad now? I don't know. Living in somewhere else. I don't know where he is. But he's living his life somewhere. Like after his house burnt down, he just went to live somewhere else. So, but yeah, the younger brother and her older sister are both estranged from their dad now. And it's her auntie and her sister who did the interview with TC Spotlight. I'll find that video actually and share the link. The audio is so bad on it though that it is difficult to follow. I had to listen to it loads of times to get. See if I can find it. Kaitlyn Ledbetter. Here we go. So it's TC Spotlight. Unraveling Tennessee 5. Kaitlyn Ledbetter, what did she find out? So
when Daddy called me, he took a picture of it, and
so the family had a lot to say about it. And obviously it's just their opinion, but that's the link to the video if you want to go and listen to it. So there we go. 5 cases. 5 cases. Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers, missing since February 26th. Lea Santanello, who is your top left, been missing since June 26th of 2023 from Kingsport. Your top right is Hollynn Snapp, who has been missing officially since October 15th, 2023 from Kingsport, although something horrible may have happened a few days before. Bottom left is Kaitlyn Ledbetter, 25 when she went missing from her home on Turkey Town Road in Hillam in Overton County, which is in Middle Tennessee. And then bottom right is Summer Wells, 5 years old when she went missing, now 8 years old. She's been missing since June 15th, 2021. So those are just 5 cases in Tennessee of many, many others that I could have covered. many others that I could have covered. All very different circumstances, different family circumstances, none of them connected, but just very, very, very strange. Very strange. And there was a comment earlier that I saw. And 3 out of those 5 have been reported to be barefooted. It's weird. 3 of the 5. Kaitlyn was reported that she jumped out of the window barefooted. Summer Wells was reportedly barefooted, but Summer liked to be barefooted. So I think that's why they assumed she was barefooted, because she was always barefooted. And Sebastian reportedly could have been barefooted because all of his shoes have been accounted for. But I wonder whether Sebastian had actual shoes, like a pair of shoes his parents weren't aware of. That's just my speculation. I can't find the comment now, but somebody asked if there's as many missing people in my country, in the UK, and yes, there are thousands of missing people in the UK, thousands of them. The reason why I focus a lot on Tennessee is because I have so many people who watch my channel from Tennessee due to the Summer Wells case. And I just take note of Tennessee because of that reason. And now, of course, Sebastian has brought some more people in as well. But yeah, there are thousands of missing people here in the UK. I do cover a lot of UK cases, actually. They don't get, we don't get a lot of interest, I guess. I think probably the only UK case that has ever generated a huge amount of interest is the Nicola Buller case from last year. Of course, you know, she fell in the river. They do all have a similar look. I think it's a Germanic ancestry. that they've like I can't quote you. I know Summer's ancestry. So there you go. I'm really tired now. I've been doing this for 3 hours. 3 hours. But 5 cases. You've asked me what? I asked Michelle. What did you ask me here on Way Street? Do they go missing barefoot too? What, people in the UK? None that I can immediately spring to mind. I think it's, honestly, I think it's just coincidence that we've got these 3 cases that are in Tennessee. They're very different circumstances. Right, why is it? Why is the Germanic ancestry interesting? I know some of Summer's ancestor on her grandma's side come from Germany, and then there is Don Wells. Actually, a lot of his ancestors came from England, so you've got a Germanic ancestry there because a lot of English people have a Germanic ancestry, and then you've got Danish from Don Wells' mother's side, Danish, like have come, like their ancestry is Danish. Tennessean here, we love you. Thank you so much, Tori, for the $2. That's very kind of you. Pincho's half German. That's why I saw it. Yeah, cool. A lot of Irish in these hills as well. It's a migration of peoples into the Americas. So you got an influx of Germans when they were running from various wars and stuff. And then there was religious migrants. So, yeah. And then North America, mainly Canada actually, got a lot of Scottish people migrating over there when that Highland clearances happened. That was in the late 1700s, in the 1700s anyway. The Highland clearances. So my auntie is Scottish. Her dad was Scottish, and she's got cousins and stuff in Canada who migrated to Canada. So there you go. It's all in the history. Dutch, German, Irish, Scottish, and Swedish. There you go. I'm Sicilian, English, Scottish, Irish, and a little bit Norwegian. That's the Vikings. The Vikings came over. Shaker Maker, thank you for the $1.99. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much. New England speaks for itself. Yes, it does. Germanic and Irish are common ethnicities in Appalachia. They are indeed. Canadian, Dutch, English, Scottish, and Swedish. There you go. Would I have liked to work in law enforcement? No, honestly. I wouldn't have liked to work in law enforcement. It would have frustrated the hell out of me. An American mutt. Quarter Scottish, a quarter Welsh, and half English. All right, mongrel. I have a Welsh ancestor, but the Welsh doesn't show up in my DNA. But I have a Welsh ancestor called Llewellyn Williams. You can't get more Welsh than a name called Llewellyn Williams. But he migrated from somewhere in Wales to Wigan, probably following like work in coal mining. Grandfather's brother migrated from Sweden to the US in 1918, so after the First World War. Norse paganism. Yeah, well, I love the old Norse stories. It's so sad that now the Norse religion, which is so fascinating, has been tarred with the scourge that is white supremacy, sadly. I was going to show you my ancestry.com, but it's making me do two-factor authentication. So I've got to go in the other room to get my phone. So please hold 1 second. Hold on. Please hold. That little puppy you see in those
in those videos there, in my please hold video, is due to have babies in 5 days. Is this still live? Yes, we are still live. All right, this is my ancestry estimate. I've shown this before, but 48% from southern Italy, actually Sicily, 42% England and northwest Europe, mainly northwest England, Liverpool, Manchester and Preston, southwestern Lancashire. That's exactly right. Scotland 4%, Ireland 3%, Norway 2%, and 1% Egypt. That's North African because of the Sicilian. However, you can get hacked results from Ancestry. Right, if you know how to do it, you can find. Hold on. There's this site that you can hack your results. So if I've got it on this computer, I do. Here we go. Okay. So this is my hacked results. So you basically take your ancestry result and you add it to this website. So it gives you more specific results. So it's pretty much the same, but 47.64% Southern Italy, 41.32% England and Northwest Europe, 4.67% Scotland, 3.54% Ireland, 2.57% Norway, and then the Egyptian disappears, and instead I get 0.2% Senegal and 0.05%, which is virtually nothing, from Mali. Which is bizarre. Interesting. You have to be part of the Reddit community. You have to do ancestry on Reddit for everybody to be sharing their hacked results. Hacked results. Whereabouts from Scotland? I have no idea. I think it comes from my granddad's side. Let me look, see if it gives me something specific here. Scotland. Mainly from the Highlands. I don't know. I don't know of a specific ancestor from Scotland, except my 3 times great grandmother. Her maiden name was Armstrong. Armstrong's a Scottish surname, so I think it's come from her. And then Ireland doesn't give me anything specific from Ireland. But when you dig into your chromosome painter, it tells you how much of your ancestry comes from each parent. And my biological father, who was Sicilian, had an Irish ancestor. How weird's that? That part of the Irish comes from him, who's like 100% Sicilian for many generations. So somewhere along the line, an Irish person has infiltrated the Sicilian communities. How interesting is that? But I don't know anything at all from his side of the family. I don't even know his parents' names. So there's no way in the world that I can find it. I also can't read Italian. So even if I went, even if I found his parents' names and went to the records in Italy, I still wouldn't be able to find out because I can't read Italian. Anyhow, I'm waffling now, and I've started to get a headache because I've been on here too long. So I'm going to call it a day. So I hope you found this useful. And, just covering the basic facts, the basic facts of the cases.
I think we have to do it sometimes. I think we have to lay down all of the nonsense, you know, and however interesting some of it is and however factual eventually some of that nonsense may turn out to be, we just don't know yet. Certainly in the case of Summer and Sebastian, some of what we know is probably going to turn out to be factual at the end of the day. But then you get cases like Kaitlyn Ledbetter who just get forgotten. And there is so much to dig into her case. There's an answer out there for Kaitlyn. I'm sure of it. And I'm sure the answer lies with Scott Ledbetter. So you sleuths out there in Tennessee, go and chase down Scott Ledbetter. Ask him some questions. All right, guys, I'm going to go. So thank you so much. For those of you who stuck through the entire 3 hours and 10 minutes, then congratulations, you did very well. Because there's a lot here. There's a lot. All right, so thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks as always to the mods. Thank you to those that donated. Welcome to the new members. And I'm going to go down and have a lie down in a darkened room now. Maybe watch some Netflix. And I'm not watched any YouTube today at all. So I'm going to go and watch some YouTube. All right. Bye, guys. See you soon. Bye.